our good friend, Rusty Mansell. Must be football season, 247, CBS, a little bit of everything. Rusty's everywhere, man. He's like Sputnik, just out there just roaming around. So, Rusty, what's up, brother? That's not a year-old joke either.
Let me tell you what, if you would have told me I was going to follow Brett Favre on an interview like 20 years ago, I would have thought we had a really bad night in Panama City together. That was the only way that would have happened. I mean, I'm sitting here fangirling, watching y'all interview Brett Favre. That was a hell of an interview, man. That guy, man, he's on the pulse of things, but that was awesome. You guys.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. I almost texted you this morning, but I wanted it to be a surprise. I don't know. I'm a defensive guy. I don't want you to know about the blitz.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's why you got to see that thing.
That's exactly. Look, Rusty saw it, made the check. They picked it up. You got to green dog the back sometimes too if he wants to leave early. But Rusty, awesome. I appreciate you joining us, man.
Thanks, man.
Georgia, Oregon, huge game. There's a ton of storylines. I want to start with Dan Lanning. There's a lot of ways to combat and isn't always. This is how I know we live in the Matrix. Of course Oregon plays Georgia the first game, and of course Dan Lanning goes there. It's just the Matrix. It's how it will always be. Mm-hmm. It's like, it is what it is. But, Rusty, you can change the signals, but Dan's going to have a good idea, obviously what you do defensively, but offensively as well. What's your kind of feeling behind, sometimes you got to go Owen Wilson behind enemy lines on somebody.
I told everybody I've talked to, there's not a person in college football that knows Georgia better than Dan Lanning. Zero. Not one person. Every day against Todd Monken in practice. Every single day. Every game preparation under Kirby Smart, Dan Lanning's in that room. He knows exactly how Kirby's going to adjust this formation. Oh, by the way, Glenn Schumann and Dan Lanning, really close. Oh, by the way, Tyce Lupoy and Glenn Schumann, they're in each other's weddings. These people think and know exactly what each other's going to do. The game within the game, the first quarter, first half is going to be incredible.
It is, and I always find it fascinating. Offensively as well. Last year, Rusty, before the season, with all the weapons that Georgia had before the attrition and the injuries, and we kind of knew more about JT after that Clemson game, we talked about Todd Monken opening up the offense a little bit, making that adjustment that Saban made offensively, getting away from just the old school, let's run it, let's play good defense and special teams and let you lose the game. Do you think now that, and I know Jermaine Burton's gone, but Kieris is back, Dominique Blaylock, you're open to stay healthy, Adonai Mitchell, obviously we know what he did last year. They've got weapons, and that tight end room, like I said, is the best one since the last Victoria's Secret model show in the changing room back there. But do you think this is the year where we're going to see a little more open formations from Georgia, spreading it out a little bit more, maybe kind of having a little more Harlem Globetrotters in them? Let's just go ahead and put it that way.
It drives Georgia fans nuts the way sometimes Kirby Smart wins. But last year, it didn't matter because they would smother you. If they got 14 points, it was a wrap. Now, the Alabama game, SEC championship, that was an eye-opener. Georgia couldn't bully ball them, and saw what happened. Couple big plays, explosive plays there. And then that game got blown open. Now, I'll tell you this. Georgia, although extremely talented, we'll talk more about their defense, they're going to have to rely more on their offense this year. So I think as you go into a mindset of, hey, we have got to stay on the gas for 4 quarters this year. We got the weapons to do it. We got a guy that's dialing up plays. You've got to stay on the gas for 4 quarters because I'm telling you, if you got up and you had the over against Georgia, you were sweating your ass off because it was not going to happen. They would shut you down and they would 3 and out and punt and dare you to get a first down because it wasn't happening against Georgia last year.
Yeah, I ain't seen anybody excited about anything since Augustus Gloop saw the Chocolate River with Georgia getting up 14 points.
He was excited about that.
He was super guy. He got
Rusty, Georgia has clearly separated themselves from the rest of the SEC East, but that next tier down is very competitive. Look, I expect Tennessee to play very good football this season, Kentucky to play good football. Shane Beamer has something special going at South Carolina, and if you think, even with a first-year head coach and Billy Napier at Florida, that game is just a gimme with that rivalry, you're out of your mind. Which team in the East do you think can play Georgia the closest this season and perhaps beat Georgia?
Well, Tennessee's going to give them a challenge. And here's the way I talk about that. They got Hendon Hooker back. I think Josh Heupel in his second year. I know Kentucky's a really, really good football team interested in Florida. I agree with you. Shane Beamer's continuing to change that roster. It's almost like seeing a major league pitcher for the first time. Everybody got a look at Josh Heupel. How do defenses adjust to him? Because I'm going to tell you right now, you go back and watch the Ole Miss game, they had 94 cramps in the fourth quarter. Are they going to allow that to happen against the Tennessee team? Because they stress you so much play after play, and that thing is designed to wear you down. Now, are they going to get those calls this year against those injuries? Sounds like they are. We'll find out. But I think if you're Georgia and you just have to pick one game, I'd say Tennessee. The second sneaky game is they go to Starkville 2 weeks after they play Tennessee and Florida back to back, and 17 returning starters. And you go down there, and next thing you know, you got cross routes, pick routes, 4 quarters.
Mesh
guys tired.
4 quarters.
I'm talking about mesh like crazy for 4 quarters. So that's Mississippi State game, 17 returning starters, good quarterback, sneaky game to me.
Yeah. We played 2 air raid teams, Cone, and they just ran nothing but mesh, shallow cross, and all hitch. It just
feels like a handoff.
Yeah, it's a modified run, man. Well, we used to be like, look, you got to tailpipe the guys on mesh. I mean, you can't get picked. If you get picked against an air raid offense, it's like getting picked in basketball. They do it all the time.
Just tell Kirby not to fall for the fake play sheet when Mike Lee drops that. You know, that was a good story. West Virginia, marquee matchup tonight in the backyard brawl with Pitt. You followed JT Daniels as close as anyone the last couple seasons. Yep. Will JT Daniels break out this season and finally have the year that we've been hoping that he would have in college football?
I think it's a great fit for him. He's just drop back and sling it, man. I went back and watched some of his stuff actually in high school. Got a chance to meet JT out in Texas when he was there for the Adidas All-American game and when he reclassified. And, really for whatever reason, it didn't work at Georgia. And he got, had that injury, couldn't really get over it. Stetson Bennett's a kid that he had the locker room. That's not saying anything against JT Daniel because everything I heard, JT Daniel was a hell of a teammate. And you watch the Michigan game, you watch the national championship, you see the first person talking to Stetson Bennett that comes off the field is JT Daniels. It tells you he's engaged. So I fully expect him to go to West Virginia and throw that thing all over the field, processing some deep ball accuracy, that type of thing. Maybe get a little picky on him. See where he is, but I know true Georgia fans are watching this and they're rooting for this guy.
Good.
Yeah, West Virginia's got to be able to block somebody up front. I know they return all 5 offensive linemen, but just because I returned something that was broken last year doesn't automatically make it work this year.
Fair enough.
Rusty, it's great to hear you say that about JT. A lot of questions were swimming around about JT and yesterday's show about leadership and what's he like mentally. So it's good to hear you say that. I've been on this show, and I picked Oregon. I picked Oregon to upset Georgia. Tell me what would Oregon have to do to win this game? If they do win, what would be the recipe?
Let me see what I got in this cup. It's just coffee. I think for me, they've got 5 returning offensive linemen. They got 2 running back transfers. You got Bo Nix, who's athletic as hell. Everybody knows, you hear the stories about him. Can they piece it together? Can Dillingham pull that, what everybody kind of thinks Bo Nix has in him athletically? Can he stress you? Can they move the chains when it's 3rd and 5? Can Bo Nix find some time to be able to move those chains, extend drives, and keep, crazy as it sounds, keep an explosive Georgia offense off the field because they're going to have all kind of matchup problems. They got 4 new guys in the secondary. Yeah. Their best corner guy got hurt in the spring. He's out for the year, Dante Manning. So you look at the matchups offensively for Georgia's on the edge, a kid that nobody really talks about. And I got my ring because everybody in North Georgia kept telling me about Ladd McConkey. Yeah. And I watched Ladd McConkey for 2 minutes. I was like, there ain't no way that guy's playing the SEC. And he flat out is explosive when he gets the ball. Torched Auburn twice, took Bam on a tunnel screen, outran everybody for a touchdown. Had a personal, pass incompletion there, personal penalty on him. Defensive pass interference penalty on him in the Alabama game. He was stacked on top of receiver there. So they got all kind of matchup problems for me. But for Oregon's best chance, it's going to be able to find a way to run the ball, shorten the game, and maybe get a turnover here or there. Bo Nix make some of those crazy plays we've seen him make before. That's what, to me, would be Oregon's best chance.
Love it. All right, J-Mac Volunteer, he wants to know, does Stetson Bennett outperform himself from last year?
He should. I mean,
I
the
think he
dude's
should.
20. The dude turns 25 in October. I mean, this dude. What somebody told me the other day, the guy's been through 7 Zeta pledge classes. I mean, he's been there. He's been there a while. You know what I mean?
That's
So
a
this
good-
guy,
that's a
this
good
guy's
one, Rusty.
this guy's a grown man. I mean, this guy is a grown man playing football. He's got a ton of experience. So I think when you look at Stetson Bennett and Todd Monken's offense, some guys coming back. They got 2 NFL tackles. 2 super freaks there, Warren McClendon and Broderick Jones, super talented who have time. He's got options. I think he takes a step forward. Here's what I'll say about Stetson Bennett, and I'm extremely confident in saying this. This guy has the locker room. And I'll tell you this, if you go back and watch the national championship game, everybody knows he's crying in the game. You know his story. The first person that grabs him was Zamir White. The next person that grabs him was Broderick Jones and picks him up. And you don't tell me you don't have a locker room when you got those guys that are like, we believed in you. You did this thing. So that tells me this is the guy. They're going to roll with him. He doesn't have to look over his shoulder this year. He doesn't know. This time last year, guys, Stetson Bennett was 3rd string.
Yeah, he's playing Scrabble in the middle of practice.
Yeah, he can't even get any reps. But now he's the guy. I certainly anticipate him being a guy that's going to cause problems for other teams as you prepare for Georgia.
And it's never a bad idea to just find Brock Bowers.
No,
Do
they're
that.
going to lead the country.
Yeah. We would never. I would make. If I'm Stetson Bennett, I'm walking around with Brock Bowers, opening doors, making sure there's not like a step up. Like when you're moving stuff. Like, I'm 100%. All day at this thing. You're 25. I mean, Brock's what, like 11 years old out there?
Yeah.
So
they're going to lead the country in 13 personnel plays.
And guess what? Guess it might as well be 10 personnel.
Yeah. I'll tell you this. Darnell Washington, from everything I've heard, is healthy, and he's taking that next step. I'm going to give you a name right now. You guys know who's follow recruiting, but maybe the country.
Oscar Delp?
Oscar Delp is that dude. I'm telling you. I watched Oscar Delp. I actually did his game, the first game of his junior year, played in the Corky Kell Classic, and he took basically a quick out and went about 70 on a super fast team. Michigan offered that night after the game, and he started rolling from there. This kid's 6'5", 225 pounds. And I know it's crazy, but Georgia's tight end room just got really, really deep. And this guy, Oscar Delp, number 4, is going to help Georgia, and he's going to help them quick.
Man, I wonder what that's like. That must be so cool.
Yeah.
That must be so cool.
Todd Hartley's living right. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, for sure. He just walks in the room. He's like, what do y'all want to do today?
Yeah.
Everybody here? Everybody good?
Yeah.
Everybody good?
You're all right?
You need anything? You need some water?
Better take a picture with that group, because that group will be on his wall wherever he goes in life.
That's exactly right. Blaine, a couple more.
All right, Ethan Williams, #Ask Rusty. Is the talent in the Georgia's receiver room you consider be underrated?
I do think it's underrated. I do think they don't have what they're looking for, the explosive guys. You lose a guy like Jermaine Burton that can knock the top off. He's a guy that's changed the direction. Jermaine Burton's going to be a super freak at Alabama. My personal opinion is Jermaine Burton left because he knew Brock Bowers was going to be that guy there. He knew the guy that would get the touches. But I'll tell you this, Georgia has some guys that's not super deep. But you look at Kearis Jackson. This is a kid that won the 100 in high school. This is a kid that won the shot put in high school at wide receiver. Don Blaylock coming back. Georgia's looking for top-end speed and playmakers. Of course, everybody is. But that's the one room at Georgia I think they need an upgrade if they want to stay at a high level, because you're not going to keep a room like Darnell Washington, Brock Bowers, Eric Gilbert, and Oscar Delp. It doesn't happen. Enjoy it while it is. It's just hard to happen like that. So I think Georgia needs to, and you look at this recruiting class, they're trying to get these guys with speed. Dylan Bell, a kid out of Houston, Texas, very underrated. Talked to someone inside that building. They worked him out last year, and the entire staff was like, this guy can play. They offered him immediately, held off Texas there at the end for a kid out of Houston. He's going to be in that top 6 rotation and playing. So I think Georgia's got playmakers. The game for me, and you guys kind of hit on this sometimes, it's changed so much. I mean, the days of having that super elite running back and 3 of them and getting downhill and pounding, it's over. Look at Alabama. Look at Ohio State. What do? First-round wide receivers. Those guys make decisions. When Clemson's good, what did they have? Elite quarterback and elite wide receivers. That's the way the game is, because that's the way it trickles down from the NFL.
Sure. One more, Blaine.
All right, Emmanuel C. #Ask Rusty. What is the biggest difference in culture from Mark Richt's tenure at Georgia compared to Kirby Smart? The talent has always been exceptional, but why do you think Kirby has finally broke through?
The depth. Bart Rick always had 1 through 35. I mean, 1 through 35 at Georgia, they were putting players in the NFL all day. The roster at Georgia from 36 to 85 is totally different. And I said this in 2017, the national championship game that January morning, we're in Phillips Arena, and we do the 2 teams. So Georgia walks in, and I've seen all those kids. I've covered them. They come into the table, do the media day, and they got Ben Cleveland. They got some big guys, and I thought, well, they're pretty big. And then Alabama walked in, and I was like, holy moly. I mean, they've got 85 of these freaks. And Kirby, in his first press conference at Georgia, one of the first things he said, we've got to get bigger. And when you talk about the kids they're recruiting, they got a kid committed right now, Jamal Jarrett out of North Carolina. This kid's 6'6", 330. They're looking for big human beings. And when you look at Georgia now, when you see them in person, they look like an SEC, a national championship type roster. I had an NFL scout tell me a couple of weeks ago that he'd been everywhere. He'd been to Clemson. He hadn't been to Ohio State. He'd been to Alabama. He'd been all over the South. He said, man, I don't know where Georgia's finding these kids, but they are massive guys.
Big, fast, and deep's a nice recipe to win.
No doubt. Hey, Rusty, I want to ask you, if you take Georgia out of the equation, which college football game are you most excited about this weekend?
I'm interested in Notre Dame, Ohio State, because because here's the rat poison. Everybody's talked about Ohio State all offseason.
Yeah.
Notre Dame played like piss poor in a bowl game. They had to get stuff together. You give Freeman an offseason, and he's played the guy in the press conference talking about he don't know the 17.5 point spread. Let me tell you something. That damn spread has been all over that building the day it came out. So kudos to Coach Freeman for that. Acting like he didn't know what the spread was. You use every angle you can. But something tells me that Notre Dame's going to show up. Do they win? I don't think so. But I think that's going to be a closer game than people think.
Rusty, if Oregon hadn't beaten Ohio State at their place early last year, I'd be right there with you. I feel like after what happened with Ohio State last year, looking back on that, I don't know if they sneak up on them. But I do got to ask you, and if you don't have one yet, that's totally fine. I know the business is. Do you have a prediction or an idea of what's going to happen Saturday, Georgia, Oregon?
I think 34-17. Okay. And I know I'm right around that number that people.
Well, they're typically right, Rusty. I mean, it's not a bad strategy.
People kind of interested in that number. I kind of looked at some things. Listen, Georgia, this is not last year's defense. And I think people need to understand that. Now, I'm telling you right now, they got some freaking dudes that can run. They're about to introduce the country to Malachi Starks. I'm telling you right now, people are going to go, where did they get that kid? He was a 24/7 long jumper, 10, 500 meter, 205 pounds, 205 pounds safe, 6'2", 24/7 long jumper.
Yeah.
Great kid, and he's gonna be in the back end for that defense for Georgia sooner than later. Smile Munden is a kid that was a major college recruit, 4'5" inside backer. So they're replacing these guys with a lot of talent, but it is invaluable what they lost in that locker room in Jordan Davis, N'Kobe Dean, Channing Tindall, Quay Walker. I mean, can Nolan Smith and Robert Beal rally these younger kids and hold on enough until that meat of that schedule holds up? But it's going to be built different, Georgia team. I think offensively it's going to be fun to watch, and I'm interested in how these young kids and how quick they can able to impact the game on that side of the ball.
Yeah, well, shoot, Starks is one combine away from
joining the
Avengers.
I'm telling you now, I've never seen, but he ran 10,500 at 205 pounds.
That's a missile. We're sending those to Ukraine right now.
I did that only one time. I could never do it a second time.
That one time you did. But Rusty, tell everybody where they can find your work, my friend.
Oh man, on 24/7 Sports, I help cover Georgia on Dogs 247, Twitter at Mansell247, and somehow, some way, I've signed a TV deal, and I look a hell of a lot better in makeup. So on Friday nights, you can catch me in Atlanta doing the high school game. Got a great game this week. Got North Cobb versus Buford. I think we got 31 kids with P5 offers in that game. Yeah. So that is a grown man high school football game in the state of Georgia. But
how's Statesboro looking, Rusty? How's Statesboro looking these days?
You've been Statesboro High School or Georgia Southern? Statesboro High
Both
School.
of them, but I'm asking about Statesboro High School. But yeah,
Jeff Kaiser's got them guys rolling. They got a big time prospect. They got a big time prospect down there. I love some Jeff Kaiser. I think he's the right person for that job. And if Jeff's watching right now, I promise I'm gonna stop by. He has been on me for 2 years now, and if it gets to year 3, I might have a limp.
Yeah, we'll show you something, Rusty. Hold on.
Hold on, Rusty. A lot of rumors going around there.
Rusty.
What we got? We got the S right there.
Yeah,
look at that.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm gonna have to call Buzz Busby this week.
He played nose with that helmet.
Yeah.
So true story. This summer, I'm in the Atlanta airport and I'm getting a cup of coffee, and the guy beside me. This was probably late or early June. He's got a bag on. I look at him. I said, "This dude's pretty yoked up," and had his wife with him, I guess. And we're sitting there. I said, wait a minute. Are you Justin Houston? And he said, yep. And I said, man, I covered you the first year. He goes, oh my God. He had like to remember. He didn't remember me. And he was on his way to Baltimore to take his physical to sign. But, man, that dude, you're talking about a long time NFL guy from Statesboro, Justin Houston.
Justin was a junior when I was a senior. We won the state championship that year. The first 4 teams we played ran the wing tee. Justin's on the edge. Justin's on the edge. Just, hey, come here. Bam, gotcha. He would bring guys down with one hand. I'm like, that's not even a tackle. You just grabbed him.
Yeah, it's like this one. Oh, go ahead.
Who was a safety? Didn't you have a safety play with y'all, defensive guy?
John Knox. John Knox, man. He was an incredible player. And he went up to Georgia as well.
Yeah, I remember that now. Yep.
Well, Rusty. Oh yeah, Statesboro, the finest again. God, the home of David Cone. Justin Houston, all these other guys. Who's that? But no, Rusty, we appreciate you coming on, my brother, and I'm sure we'll have you on again soon.
Let me tell you, every time I see y'all, your studio upgrades. So I'm thinking y'all are going to be at the Playboy Mansion the next time y'all have me on.
That's crazy you say that. We're heading there right after this. So
I hear you.
That's great.
Congratulations, man. Y'all do a hell of a job. Watch it all the time. Catch it on replay. But, man, super happy for you guys. I know y'all been getting after it, and thank y'all for having me.
Hey, Rusty, appreciate the kind words, my friend. You know how much respect we have for you. And knock it out Friday. Look, you make the TV look good.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right, my friend.
Thanks, man.
Hey, if you like what you heard and you want to hear more, go on over to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher. Check out Crane & Company live every day from 2 to 3 Central, where you can hear us spit it straight.